Hi, Justin here from Speco Technologies. Today I'm joined by Claire, who has a camera installation question. How can I help you today, Claire?
Well, I want to install these two cameras, the O2iD21M and the HTiD21TM, and I'd like to use my existing wiring. But when I purchased the cameras, I saw that there are already cables attached. So I'm wondering, do I have to use these, or am I able to use what I already have?
That's a great question, Claire. So if you have no need for the camera's cabling, all it takes is a quick modification to apply to your installation. Let me show you how. So first we have the two cameras in front of us. We have the O2iD21M, which is an IP camera, and the HTiD21TM, which is an HD-TVI camera. Let's first start off by taking off the camera's dome covers. After loosening the screws, remove the dome cover. The two cables that we'll be working with today are the Ethernet cable and the 9-wire cable. This thick piece of plastic here is called a choke. Now, depending on your installation, this choke may prevent you from cleanly installing your camera. For example, let's say you have a brick wall with pre-existing wire coming out. This choke, as well as the Ethernet cable, could prevent you from a clean install. If you plan on using external power, as well as the alarm in, out, and audio, I can show you how to cleanly remove the cable so that you can insert your own. Looking at the terminals, we see we have the power terminal, and then the terminal that covers audio, alarm in, and ground. Let's start off with the power. Remove the power connector, and then loosen the terminals by using a small flathead screwdriver. Once loosened enough, you can then remove the wire and put the connector back in place for safekeeping. For the other wires, we will have to press and hold down the terminal blocks. Those are these orange pieces here. You could either use your finger or a flathead screwdriver. Simply press and hold, and then remove the wire. Repeat this process for the remaining wire, and then remove the cable through the grommet. Now let's install that pre-existing wiring. For this demonstration, I'll just be using the cable that I just took out. Let's flip the dome over and snake the wiring through the grommet. Once you have enough wiring, you can start applying them to their proper connectors. Now, if you don't plan on using any external power, as well as the audio or alarm, you can simply cut the wire. Flip over the camera and cut the wire as closest to the housing as possible to maintain weather resistance. And make sure you do not remove it. Now, if you have a pre-existing Ethernet cable coming out of your wall, you can also cut the Ethernet cable that is connected to the camera. You will want to make sure you're cutting from inside the housing. Before you cut, make sure the power cable is not in your way. You will now take your pre-existing Ethernet cable, feed it through the grommet, crimp it, and connect it. Make sure the cable has enough slack, but not too much to take up the housing. You will then put the dome back on and tighten the screws. And that's how you set up your O2iD21M.
That's great. Now what about the TVI camera?
That's easy too. Now, before I proceed, make sure that this is necessary for your application. If not, there's no need to cut any wires. Let's take off the dome cover and make note of the connections. We have our power and we have our video. Let's take out the connector and loosen the terminals. And then pull out the wiring from outside the housing. Now for your existing cabling, simply feed the wires through the grommets. Be sure to make the correct connections to the appropriate inputs. And that wraps up the camera installations. Do you have any more questions, Claire?
No, none, thank you.
Perfect. For more information on these cameras, click the link in the description box down below. Now be sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with future content.
Thank you for watching.
And thank you for choosing Speco.